everybody else practiced.
Okay. And how did everyone look? Any surprises for you?
No surprises. Typical first day of camp where you're doing a lot of instruction, running a few new drills. So you got to take your time to get through everything. Fundamentally, you want to make sure guys are understanding what we're trying to accomplish. All that. So these training camp practices they're long and they're difficult, but the guys did a good job.
This is the Warriors' first time back to Hawaii since 2007. What does it mean to you to be a part of the Warriors to come back and give the sport change to the NBA?
Yeah, we're thrilled to be here in Hawaii. Obviously a great place to visit regardless, but to come here, have training camp here, our players are enjoying themselves. They brought family members, and then to get to play, Saturday in front of the local fans, we're really excited for that.
Steph kind of made it a point at media day to be like, we need to be open to playing differently this year. I know that you talked about still wanting to keep an identity, but how much different do you want to do?
Well, I think when I talk about playing differently, I really am talking about being more structured and making sure we're not playing as much out of random stuff, which we've done for years, but I think with a lot of younger guys, it makes a lot of sense to be more structured, to give guys better clarity on what their roles are on each play from each possession. So, and each position, I should say, too. But what it means is we got to work through a lot of stuff. We'll have more calls. Hopefully we can get to the point where we can play instinctively, so that we're not giving up what's always made us good, which is the movement and the flow. So trying to piece that and tie it together is going to involve a lot more work early on, but I think it'll pay dividends.
How much have you leaned on Terry?
Yeah, so he's been a coach who has relied on movement and flow. He taught his teams in Portland to play with a lot of rhythm, but with a little more structure. So it's one of the reasons I brought him here. We believe in the same kind of basketball, with the movement and the ball changing sides. But he's been around this league a long time. He's got great ideas. He's a great teammate. So I'm thrilled that Terry's here, and he'll really help in that regard.
It's been a long what do you want to see in Hawaii as the team is progressing?
Well, we need 4 really good days of practice, and a lot of the stuff that I was just mentioning are offensive calls, our terminology, our structure. I want to get that in place so that we can build on it here the next few weeks, as we start the regular season. So that's the idea, is to build the foundation here and then grow it from there.
What's important as kind of a starting shooting guard spot next to Steph? What is needed in that spot?
Well, ideally you want a two-way player. You want a guy who can make shots and make plays at one end and defend his position at the other. We're all looking for two-way players, but to be a two-way team is our goal. We want to get back to where we were a couple of years ago in 22. We won't get back to the level we were from 15 to 19. That was an all-time team. But in 22, we were the second-ranked defense in the league. And we were good enough offensively. We weren't highly ranked. I think we were middle of the pack. But to really be competitive in this league, you have to have a hell of a defense. And that's what we're most interested in, is putting the best defense on the floor that we can. And if you've got guys who can defend and make shots, then that's the bonus.
Any combinations catch your eye today?
Nope, just day one, and we had 20 guys out there, and we kind of just put them out there in by position. There was no first team, second team. It was 4 different groups just trying to get their feet underneath them.
Coming off the Olympics, how are you and Steph energy-wise?
I'm so energized for this season. I'm so excited. The benefit of the Olympics versus the World Cup. Last year the World Cup ended September 12th. We had like 2 weeks and then we started camp. It was tough. And this has been dramatically different. It's been 5-6 weeks since the Olympics ended. I've had plenty of time to rest and recharge, and I know Steph feels the same way. I talked to him about it today. So we're feeling great, and we're really excited about what's ahead.
Is Hawaii a nice change of scenery as far as the training camp goes, especially after, like you said, the summer that you had?
Really nice change of pace. I think we've had camp in the Bay pretty much every year since I've been here. We've taken a couple of trips, one to China, one to Japan. So we still started in the Bay with training camp. So I'm liking this. It's a change of pace. I think it's good for our veteran players, and obviously a beautiful place to visit.
Dikembe's talking about taking 8 to 10 threes per game. Is that too ambitious, or is that actually what?
I like the mentality. Whether it turns into 8 or 10, who knows? But I want Wiggs shooting, 6-7 threes a game. I want Brandon. I want Moses. I want DeAnthony. I want to be a high-volume three-point shooting team. I think that's important for us. And the big shift is Klay's not here, right? So we were 4th in the league in three-point attempts last year, but Klay probably shot 8 or 10 of them himself every game. So we're going to have to fill that void, and that's going to come from multiple people.
NBA lost a legend yesterday in Dikembe Mutombo. Just talk about what he meant to the league on the court and also off the court, humanitarian way.
Yeah, it's such a sad day for everybody. Obviously, in particular, his family. So everybody with the Warriors has been thinking of the Mutombo family. I've got great memories, really from just 2 summers ago. Dikembe and I were in Cairo together at Basketball Without Borders, and we had a great time reminiscing about the old days, playing against each other. And he's been such an amazing ambassador for the league, and in particular for Africa and NBA Africa. And I had known he was sick, for the last year or so, and so sad to hear the news yesterday.
Is there a certain amount of guys in competition for that starting 2-guard spot? I mean, is it Melton, Dikembe?
Honestly,
Moody?
I think there's competition across the board, because it's not as simple as who's the 2. It's got to be who's the 5, who's the 4. We know Steph's the 1. What's the combination? Last year we spent a lot of the year unable to play certain combinations and searching for combinations that fit. And so the starting lineup is going to have to be dependent not only on the first 5 fitting, but the second 5 fitting as well. So I think we've got a lot of work to do to figure out lineups. And all the guys can do is just compete, play their hats off, and good things will happen for them if they do that. But it's up to us as coaches to figure out the puzzle.
Are you cognizant of the battles between different players with different positions, and that basically you could make the case you have more starters than starting spots? So you may have 8 guys that think, hey, I'm going to get one of those 5, and then they don't.
Yeah, but that's a good thing. I like that. I like competition. I mean, it brings the best out of everybody. And yes, it's easier when you're starting 5 and your first 4 guys off the bench. Way easier as a coach when you have that. But we don't have that. So let's turn that into a positive, turn it into competition, and find combos that work, and figure this out together. And let's be a competitive, feisty team. Let's establish that identity through that competition. I like that.
Do you see this more as that through like a positive lens? Because I remember last season you would talk a lot about how you didn't feel that you had a solid group that you could count on night in and night out. Is this similar but kind of the other side of that coin, or is it also in that same headspace?
I mean, it's different just from the standpoint that we've changed our personnel significantly, losing Klay and Chris, and then adding, Buddy, DeAnthony, Kyle, young guys on the rise. It feels a lot different. This feels like a new beginning for us in a lot of ways, whereas last year felt like an extension of what we already were. And that's part of that is the void that Klay leaves. He's been part of the foundation, part of our heart and soul for 12 years. So him leaving it's a pretty dramatic change, and so we have to turn that into a positive in terms of there's a space, there's a void that he has left on and off the floor, and it gives us a chance to reinvent ourselves a little bit. We're going to miss him. Can't wait to see him when he comes back with Dallas. But we have to move on. He's got to move on, and that means we got to figure out what our identity is as a team.
How's Moody ever? And also, this is year 4. I feel like we've had this conversation a ton. But he's always seemed like he may get buried in the rotation.
Right.
So where do you kind of view him entering year 4?
Moses came back in great shape. He wasn't around the facility a ton this year. He spent some time in LA, but he's worked really hard. And the last week or two, most of the guys have been back playing pickup. Moses has looked great. Catch and shoot, the thing we've really harped on with him over the last year, especially, is if you're open, let it rip. And he looks much more confident in that regard. When he's open, he's letting it fly, and that improves the rhythm of a possession rather than catch and hold or catch and dribble. So Moses looks really good. He's came into camp in great shape, had a really good day today, and I'm excited for him.
If he can get back to being able to keep defenses honest from the perimeter, how much does that change, where he might fit in lineups and how you might use him?
Honestly, not that much for me because I know who Kyle is. He's, I think he's an incredible option if Draymond is out, to do the things Draymond does, play him as a point forward, so good defensively, guards multiple positions, incredibly smart. And then it's also really intriguing to think about the two of them together. We've always loved big guys who can pass. And so if Kyle makes a three, that's just a bonus. He doesn't have to make a three, though, to make a big impact for us.
Does that include playing center?
Yeah. Small ball center for sure. And like I said, maybe with Draymond, Draymond's probably not going to play 82 games. So, I feel really well equipped to handle an absence from Draymond. With Kyle here, because he plays a similar style. Different, but very cerebral, and the passing, the playmaking. We need to